Let's rock. Luca Nation, we hope you're having a great day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Maybe you're out there shopping in the mall. Maybe you're online shopping.
Merry
Maybe you're
Christmas,
just
everybody. It's Christmas. The turkey's done. I got my elf shirt on. My
There you
kids
go.
last night, they stayed up until
Go ahead.
12:01. They came
my.
running down the stairs with Mariah Carey blaring. They had their elf pajamas on, and they're like, all I want for Christmas. They were singing. It's like as soon as midnight hit on Thanksgiving, it was Christmas. It doesn't matter that it's still November. Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Luca Nation. God bless you, everyone. Okay. There you go. It was like 10 seconds. I interrupted. There
okay.
you go.
That's
You
okay.
go back to it. I'm excited.
We're gonna do something a little different, guys,
Well,
and
elf
we're
belt.
not sure. We're
and
not
roll.
sure how it's gonna go, but I think it's gonna be fun because we get a ton of messages, a ton of DMs, like with topics and cards and ideas. But for me, the true strength of a hobby is when people who kind of did this on the side eventually transition and want to do this full time, right? And what we want to do is help people do that. We have a platform, we have an amazing audience, and seeing somebody like Nick, who's opening an LCS here in Wisconsin, or I'm going to bring on two guys I just met who have become friends, Tommy, Mark. I can't see who the other person is, but their team, and they're also starting a business in the hobby. So two different businesses. One's going to be an app that we'll talk about. Nick from Cardboard Legacy, he's opening an LCS in Wisconsin. So I wanted to have him hop on. I wanted to have a real candid, just casual conversation. What's your starting point? Why did you want to start an LCS and all that stuff? So without further ado, Nick, first off, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Happy Thanksgiving from Luca Nation. We appreciate you listening, engaging with our content and our audience. Talk to us, man. First, how old are you? And give us a little intro about yourself.
I'm 40 years old. I've got a family with twin 5-year-olds, daughters, identical twins. They're crazy. We won't get into that. We won't get into that. So, I mean, this, for me, I was a young childhood collector. I went to flea markets and sold on the weekends. And then I think, like a lot of people, life takes over. You get a bunch of friends, you start doing a lot of stuff. You play the sports a lot more often in high school and stuff like that. You get your driver's license and you kind of stop thinking about those things for a while. I think, at least I did. I got distracted big time. Fast forward to last year, the beginning of the pandemic, I'm locked in my house. I find my closet full of old sports cards. I sat there for, no kidding, like 6 hours straight and sorted through all of them just based on the sports knowledge I had. And, I'm like, I was a photographer. I am a photographer. That's my main profession. And so that was not going to happen, when nobody's going to see each other. So literally I'm like, I'm going to start a business. I think I can do something. I didn't have much in my own collection. I mean, I didn't store it well. I didn't really sort it that well. And so I didn't have a whole lot, but I'm looking at it going, there's a lot going on right now. I mean, this hobby is exploding. It has been for a couple of years. I just kind of ignored it because I didn't, didn't really have the time, but the time that got freed up for me was definitely something I could focus towards this. And I mean, I might've started with maybe 10,000 of my own cards from my collection when I was a kid. And, in the room behind me now, I got, I don't know, maybe 200,000 cards and, 400 slabs or something like that. I mean, so the process for me was, just kind of like, okay, how do I start monetizing this? How do I start contributing this? How do I start growing a community around this? So I started on eBay, which is some basic sales, hopped into Instagram, started following and engaging, checking out YouTube. I mean, everybody, I think, watched Sports Card Investor when he kind of first popped. There's a lot of awesome people out in the hobby. You guys, I mean, there's so much support out here in the hobby for people who want information and want to get going or just, want to stay in touch with it. So just taking that to the next level, though, I started looking at eBay going, okay, I'm paying 10%, 11% fees. You go to card shows and you have limited amount of people that are displaying cards. There's more stuff in the cases probably that you want to see that people are carrying around than what's in actually the display cases. I went to National. I got really excited after going to National and I said, okay, it's time. We're going to do this. I'm going to buy a shop or buy a building and open a shop. There's plenty of opportunity around here for people. I created a Google My Business listing early in the process of this. and the amount of phone calls and web traffic I get from that alone is incredible. And so like I got people calling me every couple of days or so, I'd say on average, that want to sell me a collection. And then I got people messaging me all the time. Hey, where's your shop? I want to come visit. And it's like, sorry, I don't have it yet. You know, we're going to be open mid next year is the goal. It's pretty optimistic, you know, because the building needs a lot of work. But you know, in the end, it's a platform. You know, it's a place for people to come check out cards, talk about cards. Getting a community growing and kind of bringing the next generation up into it is something that I'm interested in doing.
So can I convince you to change the location to Sheboygan? I'm very big in Sheboygan.
I mean, maybe we can do another one if we do a good one here in Oshkosh.
All right. No, I'm very big in Sheboygan. But listen, this is awesome. I didn't even know you could do something like this. So you basically set up an online presence for your store.
Yep.
Before you even have months, almost a year
Correct.
before you have a store, to kind of gauge interest and just get the presence out there. That's amazing. I didn't even know you could do that. And it gives you kind of like an idea of what kind of traffic you're going to have, what kind of interest you're going to have at the location, what kind of people might be popping into the store. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, the funnest part was I got a phone call on a Sunday right before Nationals, and a guy calls me. He says, hey, you buy cards? I said, yeah, I'll take a look at whatever you got, because that's what I do. I'll look at, someone brings me a box of 87 through 94 cards. I'll still look through them and offer them, you know, $10. Like, it is what it is, right? Everybody wants their stuff to get looked at and valued and that kind of thing. But he goes, yeah, I got some Tom Brady rookies and 3 of them are numbered. I'm like, okay, let's meet. So, you know, I met him like 3 hours later, and I picked up the Sweatpants Skybox EX. And, you know, it was raw, and I paid $1,500 for it, I think. Took it down to Nationals, and I turned it around and then just invested into a Jordan rookie. I mean, just, you know, kind of flipping around stuff, trying to get stuff that I think people in the shop will like. I mean, my inventory is no longer my collection. It's the stuff that's going to end up in the shop, which is, you know, still a collection, but it's not mine, right? So it's all kind of transferred into the business now instead of just my own PC.
So, I mean, it's amazing stuff. So here's and we'll jump into it. But Andrew, thank you. It's Thanksgiving. Thank you. Because, you know, I've run out of time in the day. You know, I also have a family, and we'll get into your family in a second. And yeah, twin girls. I mean, how do you decide which one gets to be Elsa and who has to be stuck being Anna? That's the question that I have.
They actually took their own roles on that one, honestly. They both kind of clung to another one. They got different personalities. It was good, but that's a real thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's pretty nuts. But I mean, the Disney trips have got to be crazy when that happens. But so we used to do a thing called the Come Up with Cage, where, you know, the premise is sort of what we're doing here today. And just, you know, I mean, I did a bunch of them, and it's just, you know, you run out of time. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. And maybe my New Year's resolution would be kind of maybe going back to that, because I love this. You know, we had John from Slab Shelf on. We had the double coverage guys on. We had Gingy Man, the Marvel Collector on. You know, some guys who, you know, are making their way. You know, businesses starting, podcast content, all that kind of stuff. And those were the most amazing things to me. And just the chat we've had for the last 5 minutes is amazing to me, because, I mean, you're nearly my age. I see a lot more of this confidence in the younger kids. Sure. In these kids who have spent their ETH on monkeys and have made themselves millionaires, not in us, where, you know, we were basically trained, you know, being born in the late 70s, early 80s, that, you know, your goal is to strive to become middle management someday, and then
get a college degree and go find a job and run off into the sunset.
Hopefully die before you pay. Pay off your student loan debt before you die. Like, that's kind of like what
the day before, right?
The day before, exactly. That's the deal, right? And I mean, so I love these things, because, like, even now, and I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, my son and I go to card stores all the time. I've been to hundreds of card stores. We leave a card store every Friday, you know. And I say to the guy whose card store it is, half joking, half serious, because his store is a mess. Hey, when are you selling me your store? Because I've always wanted to own a store. Like, that's like a kid dream, you know? It's like when you're in college, you and your boys are going to open a bar, but that never actually happens, you know? Like, everybody talks about it. But you're doing it, man. So that's pretty cool. Support, family support? Is it just like, the hell with it, I know I'm going to make this happen? Talk to me about the process where one night you go to sleep and you say, you know what? I'm doing this.
And think about it from this standpoint. If someone's listening and they also are on the fence of opening a store, if you could, you know, help them kind of whether get over the hurdle or maybe what to expect as well.
You bet. So, I mean, the opening factor for me to opening a store is really I wanted to get into something where I'll have a group of people or a community of people. I wanted to get into something where it's not like I'm sweating off my brow every day. You know what I mean? Like, manual labor sucks. I'm just going to say it. It's awful. Nobody likes to do it, but when you have to do it, you do it, especially when you want to get in a certain spot. But, the tipping point for me was really just looking at what's out there, eBay, whatnot, all the crazy apps, all the platforms, they're all taking a chunk, right? And if I take that 10%, 11%, 12% that they take, that could be a rent payment, right? If I'm selling enough. So I just kind of look at where the money's going and I can use it better. And maybe I won't have as many eyeballs in my shop as I would on eBay, of course, right? There's millions of people looking at cards on eBay, but I can hopefully get 20, 40, 50, 60, 90 people through my shop in a week at some point, right? And so then you're not paying your 10% fees. You have a little bit more fun. You can do more trading. People want to trade all the time. I mean, I see it at shows. I see it at the store. You see it everywhere. People love trading. And I've met a few people along the way who are kind of supporting me mentally in the process or emotionally. A dude I traded with one time at my shop. He says, "Man, I can't wait to see your local card store open. I'm going to be the first guy in the door." It's like, thank you. That's awesome. I love hearing that kind of thing. My family's not really as much behind me except for my mom. She posts my cards on eBay at this point. And my wife she's full moral support and family support because she sees how much joy it brings, to me. And then also, there's money in the business, you can't shy away from it. It's real. You can make money doing it. So there's that, which supports the family, and she's all about that too. But I don't really have some huge army of people behind me. I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I owned a photography business, and you mentioned ETH and crypto mining type stuff, and I actually do that too, but we'll save that for another podcast.
Has it been successful?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
So mining specifically?
Yeah. I'm mining Ethereum in my basement. Got a couple of rigs set up, about 25.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got NVIDIAs, you got Ryzens, you got some AMDs. What kind of rigs you got?
AMD Polaris is what the chipset
Polaris.
is.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's the 580, 480, all that stuff, 8 gig cards. But yeah, so like the pandemic kind of turned me into overdrive, honestly. I just saw my future flashing before my eyes of if I sit on my hands, I'm not going anywhere. So I just kind of lit up every idea I could think of. And the card shop is neat because we don't have one in Oshkosh, in my town. So it's,
and you guys out there who don't know where Oshkosh is, look it up because it's a pretty cool location. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize it's, I bet in the summer it's beautiful, right? Because you have the lake right there. And
we get 90 degrees certain days of the summer and the midsummer. I mean, it's nice up here in the summertime, but we're starting to get snow and it's getting colder. But what I like about it from the sports aspect, being in Oshkosh, is I'm an hour south of Green Bay and an hour north of Milwaukee.
I was just gonna say, so like if Milwaukee was a dress suit, it was like a nice 3-piece suit, and Green Bay was like a pair of shorts, like basketball shorts, Oshkosh would be overalls.
Yeah. Little bagash joke there. I like it.
Come on, man. This is your key. You said Oshkosh bagash like 5,000 times. That's what they're known for. Oshkosh.
Kids overalls. Yeah.
Kids overalls. Yes. It will get a laugh from people who have children. Yes.
Have kids.
Yes, it will. I promise.
So yeah, locationally, it's ideal. The National in Chicago is only 2.5 hours away from me, and there's kind of a gap. Some of the best card stores around are 45 minutes drive from from me in Oshkosh. So there's nowhere for people to go locally right now.
Nick, I'm curious, why buy versus rent a building? Like, I think that's the number. Anytime you're opening retail,
the
question becomes the location has to be perfect, right?
Yep.
Why did you choose buying versus renting?
Well, so there's multiple factors, but I think the most simple one for me is you can't really start a business from scratch with no brand or no identity in a place that you have to rent and expect to make rent payment. Um, So, I mean, I had some capital, right? I had some capital that I could use. And I said, well, if I can just buy the building, I don't have to pay anybody anything to be there, right? So then I'm not worried about that overhead. I got to pay the electric bill and the property taxes. That's about it. So then I'm not eating into a potential profit margin for the future early on. And then at the end of it, if I really want to sell the business, well, they can have the building too. And that's even bigger. I don't see that coming for a long time. Honestly, I want to do this. I'd like to retire doing this. That's actually my goal.
What do you, sorry to get detailed, but I think like it does help because I remember when my dad and I opened up our cafe, all of the little details matter, right? And
Sure.
I'm curious, what are you guys estimating for like the build out, right?
How much money is it going to cost us to renovate and build it out?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I've really gone through and given that as much of a hard thought as I had to at this point, just because we're not ready to even have an architect come in. I know I did renovate my photography studio. So I mean, I understand what that process looks like and what that amount of money is. So I can easily tell you it's more than $50,000 to do my renovation. And that probably doesn't even include things like the glass cases and displays and, those kinds of things. Right. I mean, inventory is growing. Basically, every spare dollar I get goes towards cards so that we can have a huge inventory when we open. I mean, it's just kind of a roller coaster, just clicking each way up until we hit the apex.
I got to steal 2 minutes here. And Luca Nation, here's the next 2 minutes. This will be the one you play for your wife, your significant other, the person who allows you to listen to us, the silky smooth voice of Cage here. The one who makes fun of you every now and again for paying so much time listening to Luca Nation, doing your
That's not a joke. Someone once came on our show and said Cage has a perfect voice, like a voice that they could listen to for hours. That's a direct quote.
It is. I mean,
it's sort of signed off.
But I mean, you have the eyes, I have the voice. We all have our things. Yeah. So, but here, guys, no bullshit, right? Play this for your significant others. It's Thanksgiving week. Let's thank our wives and our significant others and our girlfriends. Let's make a big thanks to Nick's wife because, okay, I'm looking right now. If you're not watching on YouTube, he's got wax all over the place behind him. Okay. What we've already learned, right? Is that he's a photographer. He's probably got a dark room somewhere. He's got a business, or maybe that stays out. But the room behind him has gone in the last 18 months from 10,000 cards to 200,000 cards. In addition to the wax on his walls, he doesn't have an LCS to go to yet, but he's building up the stock. So his house, where he is now, is just basically a card den. And on top of that, he's got a mining rig set up in the basement. So this woman is a saint. And to all of the ladies out there, to all of our significant others, a big thank you for indulging us in our hobbies that, as Nick can show you, sometimes become our businesses, sometimes become our livelihoods. And if nothing else, help us build this community with some awesome, supportive people in it. So to all the ladies out there, to all the significant others, the partners, thank you all, especially Nick's wife. You can play this for her. Thank you.
Melissa, yes.
Melissa, yes. There we go.
She's been ever patient, and let me tell you, it wasn't without a little bit of hesitation in the beginning. Seeing some of the purchases and stuff that were going on. She's like, yeah, are we going to pay the mortgage this month?
Well, yeah, yes, think about that, right? Because, this is Andrew's world, right? This is the world, the optimism, the positivity, the go ahead and do it, the whole Cage, quit your job. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm never doing that. I need a safety net. Like, I'm not a trapeze artist like you that can do it without a net. I'm always going to have a net. So it's one thing for you to wake up.
I told you.
Yeah, burn the ships. It's one thing for you to go to sleep at night and wake up and say, you know what? I know this is going to work. I know I'm going to be able to make this work. But it impacts other people too, and it's another thing for them to be along for the ride as well. It's a tough thing, right? And we're seeing so much more of that. So much more of that. Every month it seems like we get a record number of people quitting their jobs and not going back into the labor market because this seems to be the way it goes. But the funny thing I see out of this is as techie as we've become, as how self-reliant we've become, how metaversy we've become. You know what's funny? What's new becomes old. Here you are, Nick, an entrepreneur at heart, right? Always an entrepreneur. Your own business, mining ETH, right? You're Amazon. You're out there, you're doing your stuff, but you know what Amazon's still doing? they still, after they kill all of the local stores, they still have to have a brick and mortar. They still have to have
Right.
lockers. They still have to have Kohl's for returns. So here you are, somebody who is an entrepreneur, somebody who's out there mining ETH. You decide, I want to have a brick and mortar store. I think that's amazing. Not like I'm going to go and I'm going to just be an online presence. I'm going to do this. I want to have a brick and mortar store. I'm sure you'll still do eBay. I'm sure you'll still do online stuff. That is something I think is pretty unique to cards, right? No matter what. And Andrew, you could, take this however you like. We talk about the digital, the tangible versus intangible, the whole NFTs are going to take over. Cards need that trading, that walk in, that that physical, like, take a look at this, that ripping of a pack. You need that, you need that LCS. So I'm sure the people in Oshkosh are happy. They're gonna not have to drive 45 minutes or an hour to go to a store.
Right.
Anyway, it's just my thought on it. Cards are just interesting that way, Andrew.
It's omnipresent, right? Is that whole concept?
Yep.
I think what LCS is struggle with right now is generating enough revenue and income to pay off the bills. But if you could now, I'm curious, if you could share, how do you plan on differentiating, or what is your kind of business model? Because I do believe that LCSs that have online revenue and in-store is more experience and community will do really well. If you could bring the community together, have events and things like that, and make your money online, you'll be set.
Yeah, I mean, the eBay stuff right now is consistent, but it's ramping up, and so I can only see it going bigger from here, to be honest with you. I wasn't posting as many cards as I should. That's why I got my mom involved. Now she does all my postings for me, and she loves it, actually. I gave her I don't know, maybe 15,000 junk wax, and she started her own thing on eBay. Shout out to $2 Card Shop.
$2 Card Shop.
Yep.
What is she doing back there? I never know what she's doing back there. She's listing eBay auctions. That's what she's doing, Nick.
She's not here right now, but anyway.
That's actually a movie I like, Cage. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I mean, as the online stuff ramps up, I think I watched a really cool inside, or behind the scenes for Burbank, one of the coolest card shops in the country. They were talking about their huge warehouse full of let's call them lesser known cards. Yep. And they talked about how the sales of those cards actually propel their high end purchasing and kind of keep the store afloat. And that business model, to me, has been working on the smaller scale already. You know what I mean? So you sell 400 individual cards at $3 to $5 a piece. Well, all of a sudden you can afford a Luca Silver, or whatever. It's a different game. You just got to know how to trade your value up, and find ultimately always finding things undervalued so that you can turn around and resale them or trade them for good value. So
Burbank almost single-handedly started my card come up with 2012 Prism base cards.
Nice.
I bought thousands from Burbank on eBay.
Online?
Yep. On eBay. Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea.
Yep.
So, guys, Cardboard Legacy on Instagram. We'll have Nick on again as it gets closer into 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people. I know Slab Stocks is in the Wisconsin area, right? So it would be cool to see, what kind of collabs you could do, or what kind of event you could do for a kind of a grand opening.
Maybe Chick-fil-A can sponsor it. Have Giannis out there, get him like a 50-piece. No?
I'll message him.
Chick-fil-A right now.
No good, Andrew. You don't like my idea?
Well, I didn't binge eat on yesterday, so I kind of want to binge eat today. I'm really hungry, and I really want Chick-fil-A.
One other thing, real quick, guys.
Shoot.
We have a G League team for the Bucks right in town, and it's a pretty new thing for this town. My shop is literally 3 blocks away from it.
Wow.
So I'm going to try to partner up with them and see if they want to, kind of get involved, and because it's good for the kids. They want more attendance, and we can circle that around and make fun with that. So
that sounds awesome. You get the kids in there, maybe get a feeder, somebody, maybe somebody's rehabbing, or maybe somebody, turns into a player from the G League squad. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah.
Just getting them guys in for some autographs and stuff for the kids, because they don't particularly care who's that famous as long as they're getting an autograph. It's always
and then
fun.
They go to the game and they're like, "Look, that's that guy."
Yep. Yeah. It all starts young, man. It all starts young. So you gotta look at every angle you can possibly think of, and for me, it just looked like the stars were aligning. So I said, well, jump in, both feet and head first all at the same time.
Listen, Nick, we love talking to guys like you. I know our audience loves listening to it because, there are a lot of people out there thinking about doing the same kind of thing. A lot of people. And it's great to hear that somebody's out there doing it. We will definitely have you on, 6 months or whatever it is when you start, when you open up, come back, We'll promote it. We'll talk about the webpage. I mean, I don't know if you have a site now you want to direct people to, people can find you. Let the folks know where to find you.
Yeah, so I'm at Cardboard Legacy on almost everything. eBay, it's Cardboard Legacy Store, cardboardlegacy.com, and YouTube, Cardboard Legacy. It's all there. I tried to find a name that was available in most places that also kicked ass. So
love it.
Thank you. I appreciate the time on here, guys. Really gracious of you to have me, and let's go hobby.
Let's go hobby, man. It's good to make your acquaintance, man. I hope one day, at National we cross paths, and I wish you all the success with the store. Reach back out next year. And
don't wait till it's open.
You bet.
As you're building it up. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help promote it or post something like that. We definitely want to help out. Where we can. All right.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks, you.
Nick.
Cool. And now for a little 2-part series. This is fun. LCS. That's kind of your dream.
I'm very big in Sheboygan.
Right? You keep saying that. You say you're really big in Australia. You're really big everywhere. That's
Home Alone. It's a Christmas movie. That's Home Alone. You like Home Alone. People have been messaging me and they say, "Hey, you gotta put more movie lines in." So I'm leaning into the movie lines. But now I'm telling people
no one said
John
that.
John Candy, when they're in the rental truck.
And he said, "Who told you that you need
more
movie
quotes? I will send you. I'll send you. I went a couple episodes without doing it, but I'm telling you, when I reached out to people yesterday and wished everybody happy Thanksgiving, they're like, "Hey, you said a couple weeks ago that you do movie lines and you drop Easter eggs in the movie. Now we all listen." He's like, "I got a couple friends. We listen and we try to find where the movie line is, and we didn't hear any the last couple episodes. Like they're actually listening. Like wait, there was there one?" And I'm like, "Oh, now I got to make sure I drop some in." So anyway, there's that one there, and when they're in the rental truck. And he's like, polka, polka, polka. He's like, they said, "Have you ever heard of our stuff? Kiss Me Polka?" No. And he says, "We're very big." He's like, "We're in Wisconsin. We're very big. Sheboygan. I'm very big in Sheboygan." No? All right, whatever. The hell with you. Well, it's Home Alone. Next guest.
You guys are fortunate. This is a 2-part series, so there might be more movie quotes.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring our friends from Card Crusade on. Happy Thanksgiving, fellas. How we living over there?
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks for having me. I got the movie line. I also got your Oshkosh joke earlier. I was backstage laughing. I appreciated it. I like.
There you go, Andrew. Come on now. These poor guys have had to sit and listen to me for 25 minutes. They're like, we have to go on with this idiot.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's amazing.
Tommy, are you a New Yorker?
Yeah. So actually, all three of us are from New York. We grew up together in Westchester County. And then as life progressed, our careers went different paths. And I actually live in Texas. Dustin is in Colorado, and Mark is the only one left in New York.
Let's go, baby. Go Yanks.
Yeah. There you go. Still in Westchester, Mark?
Yeah. Actually, no. Now I live out in Long Island.
There you go. I was going to ask, there's a show this weekend in Westchester.
We'll be going. Terry, I'm visiting New York for the holidays. So me and Mark will be going to that tomorrow.
Tommy gets to grace me with his presents for the weekend.
Thinking about going on Sunday. I got a family commitment going out to Jersey tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be doing our episode.
Oh, so you're in Westchester? You're in Westchester?
No, I'm in Long Island. The Hofstra show is pretty easy for me. I live in Long Island. Nassau County.
Yeah, I just moved out to Long Beach like 6 months ago.
There you go. That's nice. It's nice out there. I was thinking about buying a place in Long Beach myself. It's nice.
So
right on the beach.
What's the origin story? You guys are boys from high school, grew up. All of you guys are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you guys cross paths?
It's a crazy story. I mean, I'll just start it. Me and Mark, we went to high school together, and Tommy actually went to high school like right next to our school, but I had never heard of Tommy. Apparently he met me, we crossed paths, but I don't remember, right? But so
translation, Tommy dated his sister, but they don't want to
They don't want to
admit that. He doesn't want to admit it.
No, we don't want to make it public.
Just what happened.
But yeah, so me and Mark were best friends in high school. Then they went to college together while I came out here to Colorado for college, and they became best friends. And now we're all best friends. Or I like to think so.
I
The
don't really
three
think so.
best friends that anyone could have. We're the three
I can
best
agree.
friends. Andrew?
So I
Andrew,
like
what
to
movie?
think-
Another movie.
Yeah!
I like to think of it more as I tolerate the two of them, but not we all just kind of had a similar passion for the hobby. We've all been collecting kind of on our own since our childhood, and as we grew up, we realized how big this space was really getting. And like everybody says, COVID was kind of that eruption, and what brought everybody back to our roots. To put it in the simplest form.
Yeah.
So we started with a stock group chat. Actually, the three of us were just pitching around different stock plays, and Justin just texted us one day. He's like, "Listen, guys," he's like, "cards are booming. Why don't we do something? Why don't we come up with some sort of business within the space?" And obviously we bounced a couple ideas around at first. We're like, "Yo, let's make a social hub," and then how do we build a marketplace? And there's kind of just the different ways we could go with it. We kind of dialed in on like a full scale social market platform at first. So we kind of wanted to build like a Instagram meets eBay. But, as the ideas started to roll in and how we were going to build this thing, we didn't start with a whole ton of cash. We wanted to build a simple MVP just to get something to the market. And we realized we're like, look, we're trying to do too much with something that's already dominated by real big players, right? eBay is, regardless of what people think, eBay, whatever, they're going to be a gorilla in the room, right?
Yep.
So, we're like, okay, what's one aspect of this community that we could really emerge into and take care of some serious pain points? And that's when Tommy texted us one day and he's like, guys, group breaking, it's a disaster. You look at eBay, guys have 32 individual listings for, a single break, or you go on Instagram, guys are DMing each other. What's your Venmo? And they're recording their phone on their computer as they're typing in teams to run a randomizer. They have no shipping.
We did one break and it was a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
For
My
Cage,
back still hurts.
I didn't
My
do
back's
anything.
he
for
was
it.
in Mexico watching, so it was a logistical
Really?
nightmare. It was a nightmare for you too, because I complained about it for like a week. You had to listen, so I will give you some credit.
So Cage, you're the one breaking it, huh?
Yes, I broke.
Oh, you see, we can't break either.
Yeah.
We're not the breakers,
No.
thankfully, because it's a lot of work.
It
And
is.
we love breaks. That's how this kind of came up to bat, and we just wanted to make this process easier for both sides, and we kind of just ran with it.
People don't realize what goes into the break, but you're 100% right, man. It is a mess.
Yeah.
You go on eBay, you almost like get turned off by it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
wait, I have to bid for this, and when does it go, and what happens if it doesn't fill, and what if this doesn't sell, and
Yeah.
and then breaking it behind the scenes as a breaker, forget about it. It's you got your phone. My phone's falling over. I get the cards. I mean, because it wasn't something we did. Andrew and I don't like the house because I feel like with a break, someone in our community, if we did a community break, someone's gonna win and someone's gonna lose. That's it's just the nature of the business. People who want to break get that. Basically gambling, but we didn't want to be that house for
The
breaking.
house for it,
We
right.
may do
I don't
it anyway.
like win lose. I'm not a big fan of like the whole win lose. I'm win.
So what we did with the break, by the way, was like I had a Marvel box that I paid a lot less for than it was going for, and like a 1990 Marvel, one of the original Marvel boxes, and we sold break spots in it, one pack per person for basically like half what it was selling for on eBay, close to what I paid for it. So that was kind of like win-win for everyone,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Can't
those
go
kind
wrong
of
with
breaks
that.
you do.
Yeah, and you guys brought up a great point before. Like you talk about, inspiring the younger generation in the hobby. Look, we're all young. 25 at this point. We kind of came up with this idea, but we kind of feel at this point that we're the last of the super excitement, right? Maybe you get to kids that are maybe 17, 18 that are really involved in the hobby and were, around back then when, these big time, shows started happening, and then it slowed down for a couple years and it picked back up. But those younger kids that are getting into this space, like group breaking, there's a ton of excitement involved. It's a way to get people to watch and see these big cards being pulled, and gives kids or people that don't have the opportunity to spend $2,000 on a National Treasures box to be a part of something like that, right? So that's
Yeah,
Even just watch it, right? Even just
Yeah,
watch it.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my next point. There's so many breaks I'll just hop into, and I may not even buy a spot. I just like to watch it. some guys understand it's live entertainment. It is. And some of these
Mhm.
guys are really built for that too. I'm not. Justin definitely isn't. He's really monotonous. If he pulls a card, it's boring. But some of these guys have that excitement. They get like a crowd. They get the audience going, and it's awesome to watch. So
I'm a fan of the backyard breaks guys. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they're great.
they're
Yeah.
polarizing, but dude, they do like I don't like, how do I word this? They step into character, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to put it. Like we're out there, like people say, like I don't want to hear people yelling and stuff, but like that's what you're signing up for. You want like you're kind of want someone to be exciting. I'm curious for you guys, and maybe it's a tough question. What's up, Cage? You have
way too much New York. The whole thing just crashed.
Yeah, you have Loop, you have Whatnot. I think Star Stock is getting into breaks a little bit as well. How, are you worried that the space is kind of played out, or or how are you going to fight for market share, or is there a differentiator? And by the way, guys who are listening, if you look at Card Crusade, give them a following. And is the app out now?
Yep.
Yeah, on the App Store.
only on the App Store right now.
We're working to get to Android. That should be out in the next few weeks. Just trying to work out some of the kinks with Apple first.
Sure.
We'll be on Android very soon.
So to ask this question another way, there's a lot of ways out there to break, a lot of apps, a lot of places to go on. Tell us about yours. Why yours?
Yeah. So, we built this with, before we even got into development, right? Like Tommy said, we're not breakers. So we actually reached out to dozens of big breakers in the hobby and just kind of validated our idea of, is this really a pain point, right? Is tracking down shipping information as much of a hassle as we would imagine it is? And it turns out, like you said, it's a logistical nightmare for the seller. So it was it was pretty easy to get that feedback and really understand what's the pain point. Now, for the buyer side, there's a lot of pain points that maybe aren't as, public, that aren't talked about, but we have the unique perspective of knowing what those are. And so like Instagram, right? If you want to buy into an optic hobby break, you have to scroll through live stream after live stream, hoping to find that somebody's breaking it, right? It's not easy to find the break you're looking for. So that's what we built from the buyer side, is a way for people to come on the app, search for Donruss Optic and see all the optic breaks. Maybe you want to buy into a cheap break because you just want to be a part of it. You can filter by price. You can filter by break type. So if you want PYT, pick your division. There's all these different features that allow the buyer to find exactly what they're looking for. And, we feel that that's really something that's lacking on Instagram. That is a major pain point for buyers. Yeah. So
I think it makes sense. Like as I'm playing this out, like most people follow like a loop, like I'm going to, buy from this breaker.
Yep.
And that's one way to do it. But like you said, maybe I don't care about the breaker. I just care about the product, right? And I want to get in on the Donruss or the Prism.
Yeah.
So doing a different filtering system is really, really, really smart.
It's amazing how far this has come. I remember breaking before any of these apps. Breakers.tv was the web page of it, right? And it was just, I'm telling you, you guys, they took it down. This is years ago.
Yeah.
And that was like before I didn't even have an Instagram page. You name it. You go on there, breakers.tv, and it was like, all right, you saw the little windows. Like, okay, what's this guy breaking? Okay, you click in. What's this guy breaking? And you're 100% right. That is, look, think of it like a casino, right? Right. You walk in, you want to gamble. All right, there's different kind of games. And each one of those games have different kind of price levels also, right? So you want to be black. Is it still there? Yeah.
It's
Breakers.tv. Look at that. That
Nice.
was what it was. And this was how you found breaks.
This is what 2000s tech used to look like.
That was it many years ago. And Steel City had their own breaks on there. There was like platinum breaks. There weren't that many people who were breaking. I'm talking like, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
This was where you would go and you'd click on it and okay, this guy's breaking, Goodwin baseball. Nah, I don't want to do that. But it's like, I don't want to play $100 blackjack table. I don't know how to play baccarat. So you guys are basically saying, all right, here's an easy way to sort. Okay, this is you want to do a break for $50 or less. Here's what's available. You want to break this product. Here's who's breaking that. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it was Andrew who said it. Like, how do you plan to come to market and be different? And that's really what it is. We want to be that one-stop shop for group breaks. We understand Whatnot has live auctions. They're kind of running live breaks. Loop is live breaks and personals, but there's no platform for group breaks right now. And that's kind of where we want to emerge. kind of set that standard of who we are, and kind of get into space like that before we plan to expand into other things.
Yeah, and just to like touch on like, one thing that I think is important to understand is we're kind of at the beginning of like a transition, not only in the hobby but in the world around us with it's all tech driven, right? And I think Instagram is great for social media, but it's not great for transactions. At least not yet, right? We know Instagram is moving towards live shopping,
Very
but
good.
sports
Yeah.
cards isn't their top priority. And so I personally believe that we're going to see different platforms cater to different segments in the hobby, right? So like Star Stock, great for trading, bringing that stock market feel into sports cards. You've got Whatnot and Loop, great for live breaks, live auctions. And then you've got, a company like us, Card Crusade, where we cater to group breaks. And I think that's the way everything is going to shift is, you're going to have all these dedicated platforms for different segments of the hobby.
Yeah, and we said it before. You asked us before, like, how do we get that market share, right? We didn't base our emergence into doing this without calculating the risk involved, right? Like, obviously, these guys are big. Obviously, they're players within the space. Obviously, they probably have capability and plans to expand, right? But what we focus on is let's just deliver our product, and we feel what we can do. And everything else will kind of fall into place, right? You have cars.com and you also have Car Gurus. People find cars on both of those websites every single day, right? So we feel like if we just focus on one aspect that these other platforms aren't doing right now, it'll allow people to get onboarded onto our platform, find their comfort, and see, okay, I could trust Card Crusade. I found some, breakers that I never knew existed on Instagram. It's a simple process. I enjoy being here. And you start to, get them and their friends, and, it trickles down. So, we don't focus on what's our competition doing. It's really how do we become better and how do we get people to support us?
I think you're right, by the way. When there's enough demand for stuff, the platforms will be you need more than one. I remember 1998 being on eBay and reaching a limit of what I could sell on eBay. Yeah, 1998, guys. I'm sorry. That was a year that existed before all of you. But I reached my limit of selling on Beanie Babies on eBay and went to something called Yahoo Auctions at the time, which was like an eBay competitor. And they don't even have it anymore. I mean, it died like a year later. But I actually had a better month on Yahoo Auctions than I did on eBay. When things are exploding, like the cards are now, Whatnot, I believe, has like a 6-month waiting period to get on and sell.
Yeah.
So that means that there's 6 months worth of people who, for the next 6 months, can try your stuff out and sell on yours. And I mean, there's also little niche markets that will probably work for you guys. We just had Nick on, who's going to be opening up an LCS, who probably doesn't do breaks. But you know what? There'll be months where he needs to make his rent. Maybe when he builds up a community, he's going to want to do breaks. Maybe you guys cater to those LCSs that are out there and then onboard them. Go ahead.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, and we've even bounced that around amongst ourselves. Is like, how do we get involved? Justin says it on a constant basis, like community driven. Like, how do we get involved with the community? And like LCSs are huge. You have these subgroups of different local people throughout the country that all meet up in one spot, and that's kind of where they, talk and shoot around the different things going on in the hobby, right? So how do we get involved with those LCSs? Can we be a benefit to them? And how can we get them onboarded onto the platform and get some additional exposure that they're looking for outside of that little community that they are just working with at this current time?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to remember all of these apps we just talked about are like 1 year old too, right?
Yeah.
So like it's a little bit early to crown the kings and all that stuff because we're still so early on. And second thing, and this, you start to spot this, like, it's the founding team versus the idea, right? Like, just like getting to know you guys 15, 20 minutes here. Like, I feel like you have a really nice blend of talent and personality where you all could kind of complement each other and not step on each other's toes. Like, Justin smiled. I'm curious, like, from your guys' words, I don't want to make assumptions. How do you guys, what are the roles and responsibilities?
So, I laugh because you guys were talking about it with Nick a little bit, that leap of faith that you're basically taking to start a business, right? Like, it doesn't just impact us. It's our partners. Tommy, has a newborn. There's a lot of factors that go into starting a venture. And, the three of us, we're all New Yorkers, right? So we all have that personality where it's like we all are confident in what we think and what we talk about. And it's great because you need somebody to say, no, that idea is whack, right? Don't do that.
Yep.
But we all complement each other because we're all business focused. We all understand that aspect of it, and we all have great ideas. And it's great when you have that team because you can bounce ideas off each other and come up with creative solutions that maybe I didn't think of, but Mark has a great idea on how to build that community, and that's why it's so valuable having the three of us and our own unique personalities.
Yeah, and sometimes people are kind of off-put when we say we have three of us on a founding team, right? But it's actually beneficial because it's like a system of checks and balances. Instead of like, say, you two just arguing with each other and saying, I don't think we should do that bit.
You need a tiebreaker.
You do have a tiebreaker.
Is that you, Tommy?
No, it actually flip-flops between all of us. I mean, like Justin said, we're New Yorkers. We're really strong-headed, and we do butt heads a lot, but it's resolved really quickly, luckily.
I'm getting a Superbad vibe here, by the way. I mean, Justin is totally McLaughlin.
That's not what I'm
Mark, you're Seth. I'm sorry. I mean, like two of them went. They're high school friends. Only two of them went to college with each other. And left the other one behind. Like I'm getting a whole Superbad kind of thing here.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, brother. You're McLaughlin. I mean,
Have you heard of Quest Nutrition? Any of you guys with Tom Bilyeu?
I have.
They had three founders, $5 billion business. So the whole three, I actually think I would be more concerned if it was a one founder. Like one founder in tech, I think is nearly impossible in today's day and age because you're running two businesses. You're running so many businesses, right?
Yeah.
You have to be on social media. You have to actually have a good working technology product. You have to build a community. You have to find breakers. There's a lot to running a business that 30, 40 years ago, there were solopreneurs. I think partnership is the only way to do business moving forward. It's just so much stuff to do.
Yeah. And it's nice because we pick up each other's slack. Like you said, if someone's busy, I can handle the content or marketing. Mark can handle logistics, and Justin can tackle kind of operations or outreach of what's going on. So it meshes really well. And if someone messes up, we're definitely going to call you out on it. We may butt heads for a couple minutes, but then we resolve it and we get back to work. We're friends at the end of the day, and it's nice that we went into business with each other because we do understand that aspect. Yes, we're friends, but now we have a business to run. So
yeah, and like you asked before, like what's our individual roles at this point in the game. Like the three of us take care of everything.
Yeah.
You don't just get into a tech startup and like, Tom, you just worry about Instagram and I'm going to just do this completely without you involved. It's you don't do that. So it's kind of who's doing what. And if I'm working on this, I know I could count on Justin to work on something else. And I know Tommy's working on something else. Maybe me and Tommy are working together on something and Justin's working on that other thing. So, it is a nice, widespread of that stuff. And like Tommy said, we have a ton of those back and forth conversations. They get crazy. You would look at us at times like, how the hell are you guys in business together? Because we'll blow gaskets and then 20 minutes later we'll hop back on and be like, all right, we're good. What are we going with? So we do have that capability. It's nice. And I do have a lot of faith in these guys. We support each other. We trust each other. And that's really the best part about it.
People are listening and they're saying to themselves, these guys went to college. Well, two of them went away to college. One of them, we didn't hear the story. Maybe prison, maybe just a different college. We don't know. But you came back, and we didn't go to Wall Street. We didn't go. So I can tell because I try to put myself into the chair of the person listening. Like, did you just come back from college and say, okay, this is what we're gonna do? And you're eating lima beans and like ramen now. Do we have other jobs? Do you sit at the Thanksgiving table yesterday and tell people this is what we're doing, and they're like, "What the hell is wrong with you? I could have got you in this union." Like what? So talk to me about that, right?
I love that. Yeah.
So all of us, we I actually dropped out of college. Mark and Justin finished. They're both project managers. Mark's in the city, Justin's in Colorado, and I joined the Army. I'm still in. I got a couple months left. But luckily, we do have full-time jobs. We're not just kind of scavenging for food. We can't cook for ourselves. And I think Nick was saying it on the last meeting when he was on. It is a leap of faith, and we will do that when the time is right, because this is the goal. It's to go full time on this. I mean, we love the hobby, love collecting, and then what better way to start a business with your friends in the hobby with potential to go full time on it. So we're kind of analyzing it and waiting for that time to go full time. And luckily, we are still early. We're learning, we're growing, improving, and we're just kind of gauging it from there. And we do have nice support from our friends and family behind us. So that is also definitely plus.
Yeah. Thank you to all the wives and girlfriends out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that the theme of today's
Put up with
episode?
a lot.
That's
Hey, you have your
solid.
title. You got your title for today's episode.
I'm serious.
Two things, Tommy. First off, congrats on the newborn.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And second thing is, we got to give praise where praise is due. Like, I always give a shout out, and I think we should always do this. Like, people that are in the Army that let us live the freedoms that we have. Sometimes we take it for granted, but I really don't think we should. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting in
I appreciate that.
for the sacrifice, right? Because a lot of people don't realize the
It's hard for me
sacrifice.
to respond to that when someone says that, and I'm like, no, thank you. And they're like,
Dude, it's a huge sacrifice.
but no,
And
I do appreciate that.
We say it to him
Right.
all the time. He never, ever, ever takes it. So
Yeah, I don't know. But no,
It's
I appreciate it.
What's the ask of the people listening? We have a few thousand people listen. Is it to download the app? What's the ask of our community?
Yeah. So I would just like to just say something, right off the bat, and then I'll let Tommy and Mark go. But the biggest thing is we're new, and one of the, we pride ourselves on being customer first, right? I think Jeff Bezos really made that popular because obviously Amazon is so successful. But it's true. You're nothing without your customers or your users in this case. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to build that trust, because at the end of the day, we are essentially disrupting Instagram. We're trying to take what's traditional, what's normal, and what people are used to and bring them to a new platform. So one of the things is we really pride ourselves on listening to the users, getting that feedback and implementing on it. So we actually have an update that's processing with Apple right now that will address a ton of that feedback that we got through our first few breaks on the app. And all we ask is that people give us a shot, give it a try. And if you don't like it, right, we're open to critical feedback because that's going to help make it better. So, that's the biggest ask, is just give it a shot. And if you don't like it, let us know why, so we can at least work on it. And if you do like it, even better, right? But we just ask for that chance, I guess.
So, guys, before you jump in really quick, just because it's the theme of the episode, he's saying Amazon. He's saying customer first. He's saying he wants to make sure that as a customer that you could trust their brand. Jeff Bezos, when we're doing an episode, thank the wives, thank the ladies. I don't know if we want to have Jeff Bezos do a whole. I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you.
That was a tough transition, yo.
I got it.
Listen, his wife.
Oh, man.
She's one of the richest women in the world now. So that's what it is. It works out for everybody, I guess. But I get where you're coming. And listen, that's the way you have to be when you're starting off, right? Andrew and I, we do have thousands of people listen to us, but we try to talk to every one of them. And I'll say this right now: if you're listening, you've never sent me a DM, send me one. I will reply. I was yesterday 5 hours of turkey cooking. I spent that entire 5 hours of turkey and just messaging people, talking to people, saying Happy Thanksgiving.
I appreciate that, by the way, Cage, because sometimes it gets like you're worried that we don't get to everybody, but we really try.
I sent a message to everyone who was in my DMs from the last 3 weeks. Anyone who I communicated with in the last 3 weeks got a Happy Thanksgiving from me yesterday.
That's awesome.
So, so if you didn't get one, it means we haven't talked in 3 weeks. You might have missed the cutoff. Send me one. But what's cool about that, guys, is you can do that because there are three of you, because you're new, and you can stick with that, and that will be the differentiator when Andrew asks why you, right? Because that if you have somebody who's on your platform and there's an issue, they have a question, they have a suggestion, they'll reach out to you and you will respond. So that's huge.
Yeah. And when we launched, we really encourage that feedback. Like Justin said, we're open to harsh or positive. The first couple updates we pushed to the app was literally feedback from users, from the community. They got on the app, they saw immediate small problems, whether it's login or in the search features or even in the live stream. and we had a list of like priority items for our developer. And we're like, okay, we have user feedback. We're gonna bump this at the top of the list.
Yep.
Got into the app and push it as an update, and that's what we're still doing. We haven't even got to the end of what
we haven't like what
we're
we
still
want.
like, hey guys, like give us this. We love it. You know, our slogan is it's built by collectors for collectors, and
I love
that's
that.
really what we're about. Like the transparency. We welcome all that feedback because we're just gonna take it in and improve the app for the community. And like Justin said, we got to gain that trust. We're disrupting Instagram, and I'll let Mark go into his analogy because I think he describes it absolutely perfect. And I don't want to steal that from Mark.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, Tom. But
gotcha.
you know, I say it to these guys all the time. Is like we have to treat our customer base as almost like a stray dog, right? You have to assume they're not going to trust you right away, and that's fine, right? You can't sit there and act like we're entitled. Why aren't people getting on our platform? What are that's never how you're going to be successful with any business, right? So, with the stray dog, it takes time, right? And eventually, when you get them to trust you, they will come in and they'll love you unconditionally, right? So, for us, it's like treat our customer base with some if they're hesitant, understand that and just be more open, right? Don't be closed off to them. Just anything that they need to get that level of comfort, that's what we have to provide. Another thing I just want to touch on is like with the three of us, and I could confidently say I know myself, like no matter how big we get, I think we all have a good understanding as like everybody's human, and like Cage mentioned, like just reaching out and talking to your customer base. Like, we enjoy that. We enjoy the interaction. So, the amount of passion we have with dealing with our customer base and how we actually enjoy that and allow that to contribute to our growth. I think that's really where this will start to take off because we give into that. That's where we're putting a lot of our focus.
Mm-hmm. So normally I would hate the stray dog because it's our customers. I hate that. Come on, you're calling me a dog, but in this hobby, I get it, right? Because there's the reason why companies like you are starting. It's the reason why Loop and whatnot, and like Andrew said, the last year these kind of come out of nowhere because the customer has been treated like a dog. There's fees coming out the wazoo. Nobody cares, and basically everybody's making their money. And if they lose a customer here or there, it doesn't matter because there's 10 more waiting behind them. It's really nuts. I mean, they feel run amok. They feel bamboozled.
Right.
Plymouth Rock landed on them. No,
let it stray.
Let it stray. Exactly. Yeah. So go ahead with your stray dog. Let it stray.
Yeah, so now we have
Tommy's got it.
I got it. I'm clicking with Cage. I'm getting his analogy. Everything.
I love it. That's it, man.
Because other people made a bunch of stray dogs, now it's our job to take them in and give them a home. So
100% right.
That's what we stand for here at Card Crusade. If you're a stray dog, we'll give you a treat.
I like treats.
Home something.
I like treats. Treats are a good time.
So this is the way I think about it, guys. And how often do you get businesses that are started, like you said, for the hobby, by the hobby? And I got the privilege of working in Silicon Valley for a minute. And this is how it works. You create a product, you get customers, and then you could go and get investors and really amplify the product, right? Really improve it. And that's what our ask of you guys that are listening today, there's no money exchange. Just give it a shot. Download Card Crusade, create an account. God knows, our community is meant to support each other, right? We want to see all of us win, and we believe that it's possible. We could all win. We're all going to make it, as the NFT culture says. So do us a favor, download the app, play around with it, give people feedback, reach out to them, and then it'll help them grow. It'll help them improve. It'll help them layer on functionality. So that's my ask of you guys out there listening, man. Card Crusade.
And if you're an LCS or somebody out there also listening to us, we know we got a bunch of you as well, and you are, you're thinking about layering in breaking as well, not just from the customer side as a breaker, but, as someone who breaks the product, these guys, they probably give you the time of day, maybe reach out to them and say, hey, I want to get on the platform.
We welcome everything. Even if you want to just talk about the hobby, I'm just like you guys. I mean, you guys made a show about it. This is your job, so like, we're the same way. You want to just chat? Reach out. We're here.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Appreciate you guys.